So there's 8 of us speakers, and we are here to share with you ladies a little bit of information, some bit of magic about what we share with women as women. So International Women's Day, it has a lot of different meanings, and when I was looking up what it is celebrated as, it has a different theme every year. And so I was sort of thinking, what can we do? I wanted to do something in person. I thought, you know what, this way we can get women from all over Australia, all over the world, to be able to join in and share ourselves as a women in a community. And so I threw this event together pretty quick and was very, very lucky to get some very amazing speakers tonight. So there's 8 of us all up, and we are going to share with you ladies what we have on for sorry, I'm trying to click on a few different things at the same time. Share with you a little bit of a message that you can take away with you to help you feel more empowered and more in tune with being a healthy, vibrant, energetic, beautiful woman that you are. So we are going to mute you all. I hope you don't mind if you're muted. We would love it if you do share your faces on the camera. I think today is a perfect day to be okay with the way you look. It's okay if you're sitting in your nightie. It's okay if you've got your pajamas on. We don't mind. That's what it's all about, being a woman and showing up in any way that you feel comfortable doing. And make sure you've got yourself some water, or if you've got a glass of wine, whatever it is that's working for you tonight. If you're in I don't know if you're in Perth, pop in the chat whereabouts you're from, and maybe a little bit about yourself. So yeah, I'm in Perth and I'm nice and hot. So yeah, that's why I've always mentioned the weather if I'm getting hot. So we're going to put you on mute. You might want to have a pen and paper ready so that you can write notes as you are learning and listening. That's up to you. What is also going to happen is we're going to, I'm going to make sure that you all get an email tomorrow, hopefully in the morning, and it's going to have all the details of our speakers, so that if you want to ask them any more questions, or if you would like to contact and reach out to them, you can, which is awesome. And they're giving up their time tonight, which I really, really appreciate. What we're also going to do is each speaker is just going to speak for a very short time, and then after there's just a few minutes for any questions. I'll get you to pop the questions into the chat, and then if the speaker needs a bit more clarification, they'll just ask you to come off mute. We do have a lot of women registered for tonight, so if they all hop on, if everyone hops on, it might be too much. So we just want to make sure that we are able to accommodate everybody and be able to fit in all our speakers. And we just know how important it is for everybody's time as well. And yeah, just to pop all your questions and everything into the chat, that would be awesome. So I'm just going to double check. Yep, some of you are from Perth. Yep. Thanks. So keep the comments in. Whereabouts are you from? And maybe didn't know why you were joining us. Okay, sure. That's fine. Christy, you're here because you're supposed to be here. There's some message you're supposed to get tonight from one of us. So I'm really appreciative that you have joined us. So keep popping in the comments. We're all reading them as we go through tonight as well. So popping the questions, questions that you might have for the speaker in the chat, and we will do our best to be able to answer them. And like I said, if we can't, you are welcome to contact the speaker when you get their information sent to you tomorrow as well. So yeah, I think that's it. That's just the boring stuff we have to get out of the way before we get started. So yeah, make sure you are nice and comfortable, and yeah, and hopefully you don't mind that we've got you on speaker, just so we don't have any interruptions. I really wanted to have some music going, but I just couldn't figure out how to get the the music connected to Zoom. So speaker it is. Okay, no problem. The video's not working today. That's all right. I would just love to see everyone's faces. So we can, because it is International Women's Day, and it's just lovely to be able to see everybody. And if you ever watch me live, you know, I always say, I need to know who I'm talking to. I hate talking to myself when I do lives and Zooms and stuff like that. So got a few women still hopping on here and joining in, but we're just going to get started because I feel like that's the best way to make sure that we run on time and everything goes well. So guess who your first speaker is? Your first speaker is me. So I'm just going to share my screen with you and we will get started. And then I will introduce you to the rest of the speakers for tonight, and they will be able to share their message with you all. And like I said, if you've got any questions, pop them into the chat. See, that's annoying if that keeps coming up over on that side. But anyway, we'll see what we can do. All right. So hopefully you can all see my screen. Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. So, yep, thank you. That's so much better. All right. So I'm just very excited to talk to you about empowered health because because I feel like it is, I'm just going to leave that for you to do, Abby. I feel like it's just something that I'm very, very passionate about. I love talking about, I love sharing my knowledge in health and well-being. And also I just really love making sure that I can create a little bit of a ripple effect with other women so that they can, you know, be considering their own health and well-being and how they're looking after themselves. So I'm your host tonight, but I'm also, for this purpose of anyone who doesn't know who I am, my name's Melissa Wilkes. I am a nutrition and mindset coach, and yes, I have a nickname, Food Ninja. So it goes back to a time where people used to do like a confession. They would come and confess to me about what they'd eaten. I don't know if you've ever done it, if you're around someone that you feel like they're quite knowledgeable in food and you find yourself talking to them and confessing what you've just eaten. So I would get people, like mainly women, telling me about their pasta that they'd had the night before, or that they'd eaten the whole chocolate bar instead of just a couple of slices. I don't know if you've ever done this before. So anyway, I always like to just share a little bit of, I guess, just a tip or something like that. And that's where that name came from. Also, I'm very, very passionate about teaching people about food labels. And there's a lot of food labels these days that are out there that are not, they're kind of tricking us, and we don't realize how many different chemicals, preservatives, additives, toxins, synthetics, MSG is in our food. And so that's the other reason why I got the Food Ninja name, because I get really cross about the whole thing. So yeah, that's where Food Ninja comes from. So I'm here to share with you that there is something that's really empowering about taking health back into your own hands, and making sure that you've got the front row seat to your health. Sorry about that. And I think it's important that we realize that we are the ones, no one is ever going to care about our health as much as we do. We are the ones that we have to be in control of our body. We've got to be in control of our health, and we've got to be the ones that are the most passionate about it. I keep getting notifications and it's really making me struggle to stay on here. I'm so sorry, ladies. I think my assistant's been knocked out of the, Jean, I'm just going to make you co-host so that you can help me with that. Thanks. So you can let Abby in, and then I'm not trying to do it because it just keeps coming up. Thank you. Sorry about that. So yeah, I'm totally sidetracked and totally put off. Please excuse me and see that I'm just a human making mistakes over here. So yeah, we don't really, I think I'm muted now. We don't really get much education. I don't know if you remember when you were at school, you didn't get much education around nutrition. You didn't get much education around health. And I think that that's the part that is very, it looks like Zoom's knocked everybody off. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Trust it to happen on my chat. Sorry, ladies, I keep getting put off because I keep getting knocked off. So that's really what I'm about, is just to share with you about how you can take that power back and you can control your health instead of getting into the habit of going and looking for somebody to give you the answers or to try and fix you, that we actually empower ourselves. How can we get healthier? How can we work on our own health and improve it ourselves first? So tonight, I'm going to quickly talk to you about home, body and mind. And I feel like this is where a lot of our health stems from. Well, I think we get caught up in we don't know what to eat. I don't know about you guys, whether you get confused. Please pop in your comments if you feel that you get confused about what to eat, because there's like so many different I don't know, diets. There's so much different information out there. It can get really, really confusing. A lot of us are time poor, which I find happens, especially when we've got our kids are a bit younger. We're just really struggling, racing around. We can't be bothered. It's hard to have a lot of fresh food in our house. And I know us in Perth, we've really seen some changes happening in just in the supermarkets and stuff like that. And I don't know about you guys, but that brain overload, and I hear this a lot with clients as well, is that they feel that they come home from a really hard day and the last thing you want to think about is what you're going to be having for dinner. It just gets really, really overwhelming. And the other thing I'm really passionate about is how you keep your kitchen. And so I think what we do is we don't put a lot of time and energy into our fridge and pantry, and it turns into a bit of a mess. So you open the fridge and you're like, what the hell is in there? And there's nothing suitable, or there's nothing jumping out that's giving you some sort of quick solution. And so you're looking at whatever you can grab your hands on, some sort of snacks. And another thing is just getting sick of cooking, especially if you've been doing it for a long time. You might find that you have been cooking for, I don't know, something crazy like 20 years or something, and for the same family, and they're not very appreciative, and you kind of get a bit sick of it. So that can be another reason why you're sort of losing that health in your home, and just wanting quick solutions, which I think we all do because we are so busy and we don't have all the answers. And then there's the mind aspect. So our relationship with food, we get caught up in the yo-yo dieting, no control with food. I've got clients that see me because they find that they feel that food has taken over their life. Or you could be dealing with emotional hunger, stress eating, out of control eating, binge eating, comfort eating. Anyone relate to this? Comfort eating, you're just not feeling crash hot, something's upset you and you go and grab for some food. you know, something that's not here is distraction eating. And I'm good. I don't do the comfort eating and all the other things because I've worked so hard on it. But I have noticed that I can get caught up in the distraction eating. Does anyone do that? Like, you're not that you're bored, but something's happened, you kind of don't want to deal with it, so you go and grab some food. So if you can relate to that, yeah, let me know. Mindless eating, so that's where you've gone and got the bag of chips and you were only planning on having a few chips, but you ate the whole bag because you're just mindlessly eating, and you didn't realize how much of the chips you'd eaten until the packet was empty. And any kind of restrictive eating. So has anyone grown up with, or maybe learned this more of as an adult, where you use food as a reward? So I don't know, I've had a really hard day, so I feel like I deserve to have this chocolate, or I've had a really hard day and I think I'm going to grab that crunchy bar. And so that reward way of eating comes in. And we're just, because we're rushing or we're tired and we're exhausted. So we've learned to reward ourselves for enduring, coping with the day. And then there's the body aspect of it. And that's where the body aspect is where we're ignoring our body signals. We're not tuning into what our body needs, overworking to exhaustion, not listening to our gut instincts, which is really, really common with women. And I find that I did this a lot when I was working too much. I was switching off my gut instinct and I wasn't listening to it. So I didn't even know when I was actually hungry or thirsty because I was just switching all that off. And then that's where our body, with the relationship with food, you start to see it in that you can get people that are, and you might experience this yourself, over-exercising to compensate some of the food that's going in there, or you're depleting your body, not connecting health issues with body behavior, surviving instead of thriving. And so what you find is you've got this constant cycle happening, and you are like literally in a loop of these eating habits, and you don't even realize how much they've taken over your life. And I think that the more we put other people before us and the more we're like looking after others, we don't even realize, and all these habits happen and they're like locked in, and we're trying to undo all these things that we've slowly created and turned into quite a bit of a vicious cycle. So on home, on body, and on mind, here's some tips from me. Healthy home. Yes, that's my fridge. I get a lot of comments about it. And yes, it does take me a couple of hours every Saturday, but I don't miss it because it's important to me. I go to the farmers markets every weekend and I put fresh fruit and veggies in there. I believe what you see is what you eat. And it might sound funny, but I think a healthy fridge is actually keeping your fridge clean, keeping your fridge healthy, and knowing what's in there. When you don't know what's in there and you pull your fridge out at the end of the week and you find something's died in the back, or you can't tell, it looks like a science project, that's where you're really not investing your time and energy into your fridge. And then you're expecting to be healthy, but you're not putting that time into the food that's going to fuel you. So get rid of the junk food, or put it where you can't see it. If you need to have it in the house, or if it's because of somebody else. Get rid of the food packages. Snacks shouldn't be food packages as well. Buy fresh and real food. And that's something I just find such a difference when I'm teaching that with clients. Like the difference is when you eat food that is real, that tastes really good. And meal planning doesn't have to be hard. It could just be that you actually write out what you're going to eat for dinner. If you can come home and you know what you're cooking, there's half the job. I swear. What I find is that it's the thought process is overwhelming, just having to figure it out. So there's some tips there. Take pride in your kitchen. Having more of a healthy mind, healthy body. So healthy mind, feed your mind. So eat some healthy fats, swap processed sugar foods for healthy raw desserts. I don't know if any of you are sugar junkies, but that's a quick way to start to wean yourself off the processed sugar. eat mindfully. When I was studying nutrition, they said to us we had to chew 20 times before we swallowed. Do you know how hard that is? Like, it's really hard to chew 20 times before swallowing. You just, I don't know, I just find I don't have the patience to chew 20 times. But if you think about how often do we not even eat mindfully, sometimes we don't even sit down and chew slowly because we're eating at our desk or eating in front of the TV. And, you know, just look at implementing a new recipe each week. So that's a great way as well. So look at your relationship with food. Look at your reactions to emotions. What happens with a lot of women is we are quite emotional beings, and then the next thing is we've had an emotional reaction and then we've grabbed the food. So it's just looking at your ability to listen to your body and understand your emotions as well when it comes to food. Healthy body is your reactions to emotions, thoughts, your ability to listen to your body signals. And your value on health. How much do you put a value on health? Like, is it up near the top? Is it important to you? So I just want to finish by saying, have some easy goals, but have a look at how you can make some new goals for your health. Take pride in your kitchen. It could just be in the fridge. And decide where health is in your values, and listen to your body. What is it telling you? You might just be thirsty, not hungry. And look at what kind of results you can get from just making some simple changes. And that is it from me. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to pop them in the chat. I eat lunch in the car on the run. Thanks, Goldie. It is a lot of work, my fridge. Sick of cooking, but love eating. Yeah, I totally get that you get sick of cooking. And I think a lot of people do. It's that we've got to kind of get really back into it and make it fun. And I think if we can find a way to cook where we're not spending hours in the kitchen, then we can really, really enjoy it for what it is. So I'm really appreciative that you all listened to me. And even though that I saw everybody dropping off and then jumping back on, I don't know what happened, but it really put me off. But thank you for listening. And I hope that it's just really helped with some tips for you all. And now I'm really excited to introduce you to Jean Sheehan. She is going to talk to us about empowering your body with medical intuition, and she'll tell us a little bit about herself.
Hello, everyone. Can you see the screen? That I can't get the PowerPoint up on.
We can see your screen, but it's in your PowerPoint section.
Got it. Thank you, Melissa. So thank you so much, Melissa. I love the talk. Love it. And oh my gosh, come and do my fridge over here in Queensland, please. So my name is Jean Sheehan. I'm known as the walking, talking MRI. What does that mean? I've got a nursing background, and I've always had the ability to see inside the body. I see the anatomy, the physiology, right down to the cells. I'm not psychic or clairvoyant or a medium. I don't know how I see. I just do. So what I thought I would do especially for International Women's Day is stop sabotage with medical intuition. Because I notice women really hard on themselves. Like, we're so incredible, but we are so hard. And so what if you could tune into your body, a little bit like what Melissa was just saying before? What if you could tune into your body and stop that sabotage? But what is sabotage? Deliberately destroy, deliberately damage, and deliberately obstruct something. Now, we don't do this deliberately, and we don't go out to deliberately destroy our mind or our body or our health, but our body does talk to us. And so this is why I asked, do you do it on purpose? And the answer is yes, no. It's my favorite answer. Yes, we do it on purpose unconsciously, and we don't do it really on purpose. Is there a hidden meaning? Absolutely. because your body is actually speaking to you. Just like Melissa said with the food, listen to what you require. When you're craving avocados, your body actually needs the oils. Or when you're craving things like, one of my clients was craving nitrogen, and it's really craving breads, it's actually nitrogen, which is high protein foods. So our body speaks all the time. Whether you've got body aches, if there's money problems, arguments, time problems, it's all locked in our body. I said we own one thing, and that's our body. So medical intuition is medical side. I've got a nursing, pathology, and autopsy background, and the intuition is that intuitive side of me. So what is happening when we are sabotaging, or the illusion of sabotaging? And this was from one of my clients. And she said that she procrastinates, she stays small, she makes excuses, not feel good enough, and she stays in a relationship that's not empowering. This is one of my gorgeous women clients. And so I thought, interesting. So in that empowering our body or our mind, or the same thing, it's understanding what the body's saying. So I thought I'd give you an insight that your body's always talking and is there to support you, not just to show dis-ease. So the thyroid area, parathyroid area, which is about metabolism, it's where we communicate, but it's also under medical intuition. Are we being our own bestest friend? So like Melissa said, are you eating really well? Are you looking after your pantry? Are you looking after your fridge? Being our own bestest friend. And if we're not being our own bestest friend, that's when we, deliberately obstruct and damage ourselves, not consciously, unconsciously. Are you saying what you want? Are you getting what you want? All our wants are held in the bladder. Tiny little organ. I used to work on a urology ward, which is kidneys and bladders and things. And it all came down to, are you saying what you want? And most women don't say what they want. They don't communicate, thyroid and parathyroid. They don't say what they want. And then they get resentful. And then the resentment, the bladder will talk. So there could be incontinence, there could be urgency, there could be urinary tract infections. The stomach. The stomach, tiny little organ, it's only about this big. And Melissa was talking about overeating and what I call all the things of unconscious eating, which I've done all those things too, like eat the chips, I only have one, the packet's gone. In the stomach, this tiny little sac. How many of you overeat? I know I have. That's how big our stomach is. Our stomach holds rejection, and it's all about fulfillment. And so when we don't feel fulfilled, or we feel rejection, your stomach is going to actually speak. And that's where it will feel like you've rejected yourself, sabotaged yourself as you eat all the chips from the chip packet. Self-worth. I hear women all the time talk about self-worth. Jean, I don't have any self-worth. I'm not worthy. And I say, it's not true. Every single person has a sacrum bone. Now, your sacrum bone is not the coccyx down the bottom, it's the whole lot. And it's right at the base of the spine, just where the buttocks cleft, or bum crack, but the buttocks cleft is, right there is your sacrum bone. And I'm actually going to get you all just to rub it. I can't actually see you. I haven't got my two screens on at the moment, but you're going to rub it clockwise. So just pushing down with your hand and rub it clockwise. Just rubbing, see if it's tender or sore. And now I'm going to get you to rub the other way, anti-clockwise. And just in the chat, I'd love you to say whether it was sore clockwise or anti-clockwise or not sore. I just wait to do that in the chat for a moment. And then I'll share about the sacrum bone. Clockwise, tender clockwise, fan anti-clockwise, anti-clockwise more sore. Now I'll give you a tip. I don't know whether it means anything clockwise or anti-clockwise. That's just a bit of fun that I teach in the medical intuitive courses and when I speak this at university. Doesn't mean anything. But what it does mean, if there is tenderness in that sacrum area, it indicates that the body is saying, you're thinking you don't have value or self-worth. So I'm going to say straight away, when it relates to self-sabotage and self-worth and self-value, you have got it. And you've got it because there is a sacrum bone right within you. Your body's always listening. So if you have the story, what I call the story, that you're not valuable, or you haven't got value to give, or you're not worthy of something, then that's where we unconsciously will go and deliberately obstruct unconsciously. Let's go to the next body part, the brain. Now, this is the whole brain, all of it, frontal lobe, everything right down to the back. That brain is where we hold expectations. And if we've got these massive expectations, which I know I do, I still have massive expectations of myself, not so much other people, that's where we can sabotage. And we sabotage because we put the bar up so high that we never, ever get to reach it. But I always say to everyone, you know what? When you sabotage, or the illusion of sabotage, what happens is you're just learning. You're learning just to lower the expectations down, and that everything always works out. And then the last body part I've got is the hips. Our hips, whether they are prosthetic or our own bones, is where we hold identity. What is your identity? What if your identity is this most incredible, empowered, loving, caring, acceptable, dynamic, amazing woman, and you didn't realize? Well, that's where sometimes you might feel sciatic pain. Sometimes you might lie down on the bed and you think, oh my gosh, I'm really sore. Or sitting in the chair, especially the last couple of years, a lot of people have had to sit in the chair on Zoom to do their work and meetings and things. And you might get pain in the hips, or people walking. Sometimes they say they're really stiff after walking. You're not connecting to the amazing identity you are. So what's this all got to do with sabotage? So I've just picked a few body parts that speak to us to say, you know what? The body's listening. The body parts are here to support you. They're here to empower you. They're here to say there's no such a thing as sabotage at all, because really your true identity, as I said, is amazing, dynamic, lovable, acceptable, whatever you would like that to be, totally empowered if you see it that way. And every single body part has two functions. So when I was nursing, I could see all the chemical, physiological part plus the emotional, or what they call metaphysical part as well. And so what if, excuse me, what if your body right now is listening, and those body parts are listening and saying, okay, today is the day, tonight's the night. And right tonight, that your body is going into a new story, saying, wait, tomorrow morning, I know my identity. I know who I am. I know I've got value. And I know that I can shine my brilliance. So part of medical intuition is seeing dis-ease in the body, because we're taught that in the medical system, but under medical intuition, it's actually seeing the best of the best and listening to the body so that you can actually shine your brilliance and have health, wealth, and anything else that you desire. Now, I saw a couple of comments, but I wasn't watching. And Melissa, I'm going to leave some time for questions, because medical intuition's like crazy, crazy stuff. So if anyone's got any questions, I'd love to answer them. You just have to unmute if you want to, or you can put it in the chat. Or I've scared everyone, Melissa, with like craziness of medical intuition.
Oh, hopefully not. Yeah, I'll just move it back to gallery. So yeah, jump on if you've got any questions, or pop it in the chat. So you've got one there. Chrissy said she saw all over.
Chrissy, do you want to share, tell me what you mean by sore all over? Because I've got a couple of minutes, I can answer that.
Deanne said, fascinated by messages from her body. Sky said it's amazing. Yeah. Anybody else have any questions? Anything weird stuff going on with their body? They've been able to make a connection or see.
I have a little more questions about the hip area. Sure, you can ask away about the hip area. Every single body part. So whilst I was nursing for 15 years, I used to write case studies, not that anyone saw it, but I would see links of diseases and see what was going on. And now I teach this at universities, online, was cruise ships, not anymore, what the body is saying. What about nerves and what is it saying? So the nervous system is like our Telstra line. And when there are nerve disorders, it's the communication that we're saying to ourselves, because the nervous system is all around the brain and down the spine and to the rest of the body. So what are we saying with that to ourselves? But it also, if I link it back to Melissa, it can also be specific vitamins, especially the B vitamins that are needed, and especially through great food. I'm not sure the question about the hip area. Migraines are a big one. Migraines can be B6, B12 deficiency. They can also be pressure on self, and depending where the migraine is, because they move all over the place, it can be linked to third eyes, not seeing the bigger picture. If they're linked in eyes itself, it can be high expectations. If it's temporal, it can be not seeing the best. So it depends on where the migraines are. Autoimmunity seems to be becoming more common. Yes, autoimmune, things like diabetes are autoimmune. Autoimmune is the person feeling attacked. And because they feel attacked, then the body attacks itself. And then it will have things like leaky gut, the modern day things like leaky gut, etc. If we have that balance of mind, body, and spirit, life is a little bit different. Rash on my right foot, any rashes, I'll be really quick. Rash on your, any rashes, and especially if they're red, when they come to the surface, it indicates there's irritation and also anger. When it's on the foot, it's about the purpose. I'm really angry. I don't want to be on that purpose at all. What about stomach inflammation and bowel issues? Stomach is the feeling rejection. So when stomach stuff comes up, and whether it's low digestive tract, digestive enzymes, hydrochloric acid, or any of those sort of things, there's been a lot of rejection that has been digested and not feeling fulfilled. And when there's inflammation in the body, it's just digesting all that unfulfillment, and then it affects the small bowel, large bowel. My time's up, but I want to say thank you so much to Melissa, and thank you to all of you beautiful women for being here on such a special day, super, super special day. So thank you so much, Melissa. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jean. I love listening to you, and I always hop on whenever Jean is on Facebook Live. I'm always hopping on asking questions. Thank you so much for that. Like, it's amazing, and I love the connection between what you do and what I do as well, because it's just also showing how interconnected everything is. So thank you, that's awesome. I'm so excited to introduce the next speaker, Shannon Dunn, and she is talking about your Thrive Factor, and it's all yours. The floor's all yours, Shannon. Go ahead.
I'm going to try and pin myself, Melissa, because I don't have a presentation, so you can just all watch me speak. I've got some props, but let's see if this is going to work. There you go. So I can see you all on the side of my screen. So thank you so much for having me, Melissa. I was really honoured when you reached out and said, can you come and be a part of this? I was like, yes, in any opportunity for it to gather with women and to have greater conversations about what it means to be a woman. And when it comes to what I'm obsessed, I think we could say, about is thriving. So my name is Shannon Dunn. As Melissa said, I have been a business and leadership coach for 16 plus years now. And the work that I do all comes down to a framework that I created over a decade ago, having nerded out since my teenage years, and that's quite a long time ago now. We just had a significant milestone birthday a week ago. But it's all about thriving, and I love understanding human behaviour and human dynamic. The work that I do with business has all come as a result of this fascination that I've had with how we function as humans, particularly from a mind and an emotional perspective. And my professional career and qualifications include things like a lot of business study, but also I was a registered nurse. So interesting that Jean said that long time ago, right? Long time ago. But definitely love that taught me to communicate with people and to see the potential in people. I'm also a qualified counsellor and art therapist and done lots of other stuff. I'm a nerdy, let's see, someone who has a thirst for knowledge that's hard to quench. And that's because of one of the archetypes I have. So the Thrive Factor framework is the foundation of all the work that I really share in the world these days with women. I, as well as being in the business and leadership space, I am an author. So the Thrive Factor book, they said I had some props, came out in January 2019. And just January of this year, my follow-up book, Braggadocious, which is about the bold art of self-celebration, came to be a reality. Both of these books focus on the 12 archetypes that are in the Thrive Factor framework. Now, there are 12 of them. If I'm doing a presentation on this, more often than not, the presentation is at least an hour long. So what we've got, Melissa, 10 minutes to rapidly talk through. So I'm going to only talk to you at really high level about 3 of the Thrive Factor archetypes, 3 that I see very commonly amongst women, and I am sure that you will identify with at least one of them. If for yourself, or definitely recognize it in a friend, a family member, another woman that you know. I have a true belief that it is everybody's birthright to thrive. Now, I also am a realist and know that the reality of us all thriving worldwide is far from the truth, yeah? There are people all over the world that are struggling. Look at what else is happening around the world more recently. But I truly believe that my mission here is to work with women to teach you different ways that you can connect with yourself, to expand self-awareness, to help you to understand how you can honor yourself, be more confident, more conscious. Yeah, as I said, celebrate, definitely, compassionate, so that you can activate thriving for yourself. And the Thrive Factor framework and its 12 archetypes just happens to be the way that I do that. I believe also that self-awareness is one of the most underrated assets for each of us, both in our lives and in our business or our work, whatever it is that you do in the world. And when we can get to a place where we open up and we are curious and we're interested and we want to know more about who we are, this is where we can change the dynamic of the belief systems we have, of our emotional states, and of so many other things. So the Thrive Factor framework, as I said, consists of 12 unique archetypes. This is something I created back in 2009-10 and first began using it with my clients in 2010. I now also, just as a side mention, because I've got a couple of my community on this live call today, I teach a certification in Thrive Factor coaching now. So big shout out to Caroline Smith, who's here live as one of my licensed Thrive Factor coaches. She is at the bottom of my screen. And also to Rachel Gardner. Rachel's studying with me at the moment to become a Thrive Factor coach. So ladies, thanks for joining us. So of those 12 archetypes, your unique profile could have anywhere between 3 and 6 of those 12s. Now, the real important thing to notice there, which I guess to really highlight for you, is that we are not singularly dimensional. We are not linear, definitely not as women. In fact, we're very cyclic. Look at all the different cycles that exist in our lives and the way that we exist in the world. We are multi-dimensional with different facets and different aspects of ourselves. So I am going to talk, as I said, about 3 Thrive Factor archetypes, just mindful of time. Melissa, do wave me down if I go get too carried away. And with that, I'm talking about that archetype as an individual archetype. You need to also remember, or to be aware of, that you and I may have 4 archetypes that are exactly the same, because I have 4 archetypes in my unique Thrive Factor profile, but you may have a 5th archetype, which would mean that the 4 we have the same could play out very differently in our lives because of the influence of that 5th one. So each of your archetypes individually, yes, they can be, they will show up for you, they will be present in your life, the strengths that have been documented and defined and I guess really you said, you know, over a decade of research now and observation, I profiled over 1,000 women worldwide and got coaches that are also profiling women. We have a lot of evidence to really affirm that this information that you get to know about yourself is correct. Archetypes themselves, I don't know if anyone has heard the word archetype before. If you have, pop a note in the comment. If you think you know what it is, Caroline and Rachel are not allowed to answer this question because they should know what an archetype is. If you think you know what an archetype is, pop that in the comments as well. I'm always intrigued to see and hear what your understanding of it is. I'm not going to tell you what an archetype is necessarily, but I do want to say that it is an ancient system of self-understanding and self-awareness that was, I guess, brought to life in a much bigger way in the early 1900s by the likes of Sigmund Freud and particularly Carl Jung. So, you know, a lot of stuff has come to life since then. And I love the fact that now it's a word that when I share it, at least women know what it is or they've heard it and they have some sense of what it is. So I'll just have a quick look and see if anyone's got anything in the comments box there. Yeah, no one's going to dare to put a definition in. Yeah, self-identity or a type of energy. Yeah, definitely, Sky. Those things for sure. If Caroline or Rachel want to jump in and share what they understand an archetype to be, go for it, ladies, and we'll see. Not a test. I know they know what they're talking about. So in coming to choose 3 archetypes to talk to you about, as I said, at super high level, it was like, okay, which ones do I see frequently show up in the women that I work with? And I tend to work with women. Yes, a lot of them are in business, but a lot of them are also in leadership roles in different parts, you know, in their work and in the community. And these 3 archetypes that I'm going to share with you frequently show up either together in a profile or individually. So the first one I'm going to share is something that, or an archetype, is called the Mediated Diplomats. Every one of them has their own imagery as well. You can see black and white there, night and day, the scales in the front. So this is the archetype that is all about balance and alignment. She's also the truth seeker and here to ensure that there is peace, justice, harmony and balance in the world for herself and for everybody else. I sort of call her, she's like the moral compass, if you like, of the 12 archetypes. She can be very black and white about things. It's this or it's that, rather than seeing the greys that those of us that don't have the mediated diplomat archetype, which I don't, a lot of us that don't have this archetype see the sort of greys in the world and we, you know, ebb and flow a little bit more. For a mediated diplomat, it can be much more exacting. As I said, it's this or it's that. Night and day, black and white, this is how it is. The scales are about balance. Interestingly, as a side thing, we're not going to go into astrology, but a lot of Librans have the mediated diplomat archetype. You know, they're all about the scales there. The mediated diplomat is also the one of the 12 archetypes that is the perfectionist. She sets incredibly high standards for herself and is constantly measuring against those standards and frequently deciding that she doesn't measure up or what she's done or accomplished or achieved doesn't measure up. So she holds herself back. You know, Jean was just talking about self-sabotage. Every one of the archetypes has their own sabotage patterns as well. If you recognize with these anything about these archetypes as I'm sharing with you, please do share, you know, let us know. I know that I said both Caroline and Rachel have this archetype, so they can tell you more about what it's like to be a mediated diplomat. It's like she's the devil's advocate in every room. She's that friend of yours that's always going to go, but have you thought about this other thing when you were trying to get her on side to really support you with the thing that you needed to get some support with? It's an incredible archetype of listening to the point that people feel heard when they've spent time with a mediated diplomat. So she's got a lot of incredible gifts, but she also has some things that can be points of challenge for her. So yeah, if you do recognise yourself as a mediated diplomat, please share that, and I'd love to see if anyone does. The next one I want to share with you, so these are in no particular order, it was just the 3 that jumped to mind, is this one is the advocate rescuer. We call her the archetype of compassion. So if you know anything about any goddess stories, and if you've heard of the goddess Kuan Yin, so the Eastern goddess of compassion, this is the epitome of this archetype. She is the big-hearted archetype that is here to help everyone if she possibly can. I was talking today with someone and describing the advocate rescue archetype like the energy of Mother Teresa. If we think about how she had this mission to help as many people in the world, like a global mission, that gives you a sense of what the advocate rescuer is like. Now, the thing though about the advocate rescuer is that she can really struggle to feel self-appreciation and to feel like she is valued in the world. She's the first one and the one who usually way too frequently says yes to things. She volunteers her time. You know, the advocate rescuer aspect, the advocate is that she's always about championing causes. They could do with people, with animals, with the environment, with all of the above. She can overcommit. She can be really terrible with her own boundaries. just giving too much. So yes, there's an aspect of this in every woman. In fact, there's an aspect of all 12 archetypes in every woman, but your own unique profile are the ones that are, I guess, dominant, for want of a better word, within you. I have so much love for the advocate rescuer. The thing about the advocate rescuer, she doesn't have a lot of love for herself often. She can really struggle with self-care, and she wants to be empowering, but she doesn't necessarily understand the true nature of self-advocacy and how to be a true empowering individual by leading by example instead of rescuing and jumping in and trying to do for everybody. Sometimes when she's done that jumping in, because she can see the potential to help someone, that person or that individual, that organisation might not really have wanted her help. She can see what's possible, and she's doing it from a big, hearted space of, I really want to help. But people can be quite harsh sometimes, and then she can get very sensitive about how things are in the world. So, and in her own sense of self. Sounds like me. So is that Lisa? Yes, Sky, me too. I love Kuan Yin. Beautiful, beautiful energy. So yeah, so the real thing about advocate rescue is be kind and compassionate to yourself. Yeah, more than anything else. Now, the third archetype, the final one of the 12 I'm going to share with you, is this one, which is one of my 4, the Inspirer Believer. Now, in the world of business, I tend to find that I would say 90-something% of women have this archetype, and I'm not surprised. The Inspirer Believer archetype is driven by strong core belief systems and also a desire to be inspirational. But she's also incredibly humble and doesn't necessarily see the inspiration that she is in the world. In fact, when she receives beautiful compliments from her friends, her family, her work colleagues, her clients around how much of an inspiration, motivation she is, she'll often go, that's just what I do. Yeah, really kind of literally screw face up. I've done this my whole life. But doesn't everybody do that? No, this is the incredible thing about archetypes, is that each one of them is unique to us and has our own unique kind of blueprint about how we show up in the world. The Inspirer Believer is also the archetype of the 12 that is the archetype of energy. If you noticed in the back of that image there are flames. So those, for me, from a visual perspective, are as much the kind of flame of inspiration and igniting something, creativity, a spark, being the muse, as they are awareness of how easily it can be a reality for an Inspirer Believer that she can get burnt or burn herself out. So being mindful about her energy is really important. Just as a side note, anecdotally, I've noticed that a lot of Inspirer Believers have a lot of health issues. We've had both Melissa and Jean talk about specific body and health stuff. Inspirer Believers frequently have health issues related to energy. So lots of different things, from, migraines to, I'm just trying to think of some of the other kinds of things that I hear about, chronic fatigue, all that kind of stuff, frequent in Inspirer Believers. I said it's a dominant archetype certainly in my world, but I do see it very commonly in the world, which I absolutely love. I call this archetype also the cheerleader. She's always there to cheer someone, to make sure that they're aware that she's there and she's supporting, and she wants to do the best she can so that they know what their potential is. So that gives you a bit of a, I said, high-level overview of the 3 of the 12 archetypes. I'd love to go through them all, and if anyone does have any questions about the archetypes, the best thing to do is, I think Melissa's going to send out our contact details of how you can connect with us, is to reach out and connect with me on social media or by email or whatever, so that you can find out more. There is lots of opportunities to learn about your archetypes. I include it in all of the programs I run, but also you can do one-off profiling or some coaching, either with me or one of the Thrive Factor coaches. But the thing to really know, as I said earlier, is that every archetype has her own set of strengths that you can tap into, and every archetype has her own set of potential challenges. The word potential is also significantly key there, because, as I said, when you have and you look at the dynamic of your unique archetypes together, one archetype that you have that could be different to mine, and yet we have the others the same, could mean that the challenges that you actually express or activated or actualized in your life, in your world, may not be the same as what mine are. Yeah. So we talk a lot in the whole Thrive Factor world about being in your effortless success zone, which is a state of thriving. The fastest way for you to activate your effortless success zone is to actively use more of your strengths, reliable parts of yourself, of your personality, of your belief systems, of your emotional states, of your behaviors, so that you can use more of those to be who you are in the world without having to apologize, without having to second guess. One of the words that I love most that I get in terms of feedback from women when we're talking about their Thrive Factor and their archetypes is that they feel like they finally have permission, self-given permission, to be who they are. I've sat across from many women online or in person over the years where there's bit of gentle tear roll down her face. And when I inquire, the therapist in me always likes to explore what's going on. It's often that, you know, I like myself, or that thing I've been told is no good about me, or I've condemned myself for, or judged myself for, is actually one of my superpowers, which is such a joy to see that happen. So I think that's about it for me. I'm probably well and truly at time. If anyone does have a question, please pop it in the, you know, in the comment box, or you can take yourself. I'll take myself off the full screen here if I can. There you go, remove the pin. All right.
Thank you so much, Shannon. That was awesome.
Pleasure.
Did anyone relate to anybody when any of those archetypes as Shannon was explaining them? Please share. I definitely did. So I was like, oh my God, that's me.
Which ones, Melissa? Which ones jumped out for you?
The last one. Yeah.
All right, the inspirably, yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
I think I got a card when I got your book, and I'm pretty sure that's the one I pulled. That's the card I pulled, so I have to have a look. But yeah.
Go back and look at that for sure.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, so yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you joining us and sharing your message about the Thrive Factor. That was awesome. So our next speaker tonight is Deborah Oxby, and she's going to be talking to us about women thriving in relationships. It's all yours, Deb.
Thanks, Mel. Let me just get set up. Can everyone see my screen? Can you just let me know?
No, not yet.
No. Have I got sharing rights, Mel?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'll just make you.
Can you now?
No, I'll just make you host and you should be able to.
Okay.
Now try.
Yeah. Now, can you see?
No.
Okay. Don't worry, I'll just go with me. Okay, so I just wanted to say a huge, huge thank you to you, Melissa, for putting this together for us all. A happy International Women's Day to every one of you. And also, how about the amazing speakers we've had so far, hey? Amazing. So I want to talk a little bit tonight about thriving relationships, and you know, how do we have thriving relationships in our world, and if we don't have thriving relationships, how does that flow on and impact into our you know, our business, our health, our well-being, our friendships. So when we really look at our relationships with all other people, you know, first of all, who's in a relationship here, whether that be with a partner, a business relationship? You just pop in the chat whether you're in a relationship at the moment. That'd be great. And if you are in a relationship, is it a couple? Is it a business relationship? What kind of a relationship is it that you're in? It'd be awesome. Married, awesome. 16 years, wow, go. Still married to my heart, yeah, beautiful, Melissa. So at some level, I'm married for 27 years. Wow, Helen, well done. And awesome, thanks, ladies. So at some level, we're all in a relationship, whether that be with another person, whether that be with our business, whether they're happily divorced. I love that, Shannon. Whether that be, you know, whatever it is. But the most important relationship that we actually have is the one that we have with ourselves. And this relationship underpins every other relationship that we have in our life. So, and often, you know, from a very young age, we're actually conditioned to turn away from ourselves. We're conditioned to think about everybody else, make sure everybody else's needs are met, make sure that everybody else is happy, you know, and often what has been modeled to us is that it's selfish to look after ourselves and, you know, have high levels of self-care. So one of the things that I wanted to share tonight, obviously, like Shannon said, there's so much that you can talk about in this area, but in a 10-minute slot, I really have to choose wisely about how I can talk about it. So I want to give you a practical tool to be able to use in your relationships, and to be able to use it on a daily basis. And I want to talk about two areas. So there's relationship with yourself, and then there's the relationship with others, or, you know, maybe it's your business. So I really want to, you know, get you to focus on both of those areas. Sorry, I'm just changing the view. So when you are in a relationship with another, we have this thing called a love tank or an emotional bank account. Who in the chat, just put yes if you have heard of a love tank or an emotional bank account. Has anyone heard of that? Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well done, Mel. So when we have a relationship and we want a relationship to be thriving, we really need to know what that means to us first. So like if I invited you to my house for dinner, I would have to give you my address for you to be able to actually arrive at your destination and be able to have a meal with us. So same goes with a relationship and a thriving relationship. What does a relationship actually mean? A thriving relationship actually mean to you? So if you've got a piece of paper and a pen with you, just jot down and share in the chat room, in the chat box, what does that mean to you? What does that mean on the level of how would you feel? You know, what needs to be happening in that relationship for you to feel like you're thriving? What do you need to see? What needs to be happening on in that relationship for you personally? And it's going to be different for each one of us. Mutual exchange, yeah, absolutely. But what does mutual exchange mean, Sky? Go deeper on that. So what is it that you actually need for you to thrive in a relationship? When we are clear about this, it gives us a roadmap to be able to then create that in a relationship. Yeah, respect, encouragement, support, compassion, equality, acceptance, more quality time. Absolutely. A lot of these things will be, you know, will be across the board for all of us, but there will be certain things that you only relate to, that you require in your relationship. So I want you to just take a little moment now and just close your eyes and go inside. And I want you to just become aware of your inner love tank. So become aware of inside of you is a love tank. And I want you to think about yourself here. So close your eyes, go inside and become aware of your love tank. Is it full? Is it empty? And this is the one with your relationship with you, with yourself. What is it like? Is it below halfway? Is it above halfway? Is it a quarter? Is it near the top? On a scale of 1 to 10, 0 being at the bottom and 10 being at the top, full and overflowing, just get a sense and have an awareness of what your number is with your relationship with yourself. And then just jot that down on your piece of paper, and you can feel free to share it in the chat box if you would like to. And then do the same exercise, but do it with your relationship with either a partner or a business or a child or a friend. Doesn't have to be a love relationship as such, but a relationship that's significant to you in some way. So once again, go inside, And just close your eyes, become aware of that relationship, whichever one it is for you. And just notice where your love tank is at with that relationship. Is it full? Is it empty? Does it need some attention? And once again, get a number from 0 to 10. And then come back to the room and just share with us in the chat box. What's your number? What's your number in your relationship with others or with yourself? Or you share both if you want to. When we're looking at our relationship with others and our love tank or our bank account, it literally is like having a bank account. Oh, thanks, Mel. Oh, wow. Well done, Michelle. It's awesome. 8 and an 8. Well, it literally is like a bank account. We have withdrawals and we have deposits. And when we have deposits into our emotional bank account or our love tank, can be things like, you know, sending a love note. It can be things like bringing home some chocolates. It can be doing things like spending quality time together. It can be things like, you know, doing something to help the other person in some way. Having appreciation and acknowledgement for one another, expressing that, not just thinking it, but actually expressing it to the other person, being thoughtful, actually having a date night. I know a lot of these things seem like they're simple and easy, but are we actually doing them? And are we really putting deposits in the account? So what are the ways that we can take a withdrawal out? You know, the things like arguments, things like not being on time, not being reliable, not being a person of your word, being negative, you know, bad moods, sarcasm, things like that. You know, obviously violence is a big one. Being dishonest is another one. Affairs can literally wipe out a bank account. And you know, with your bank account, when we first get together in a relationship, your emotional bank account or your love tank, when we first get together in a relationship, it's really easy to build this. We're always putting deposits in the account. We're doing lovely things. We're making the efforts. We're doing the little things. We're making the phone calls, sending the special messages, writing the cards, bringing the flowers, you know, spending quality time, giving someone our attention. And so consequently, we're putting deposits in this bank account or in our love tank. And once we move into what we call the plateau stage in a relationship, which is where we tend to, you know, I guess, move into the comfort zone. We feel safe, we feel comfortable, we don't feel like we necessarily have to put in so much effort anymore. We tend to slack off and we stop doing the little things that matter most. And that's when we start to take withdrawals out of the emotional bank account or out of the love tank. It takes 5 deposits to be able to make one withdrawal in a love tank or an emotional bank account. So it makes sense that it's really quickly that we can get out of balance and come into bankruptcy if we're not looking after our relationship and putting in the deposits. So just a few tips, like, you know, with your 2 relationships, one is your relationship with yourself. What's 1 or 2 things that you can do to start to put more into your relationship with yourself? Is it going to bed a little earlier? Is it picking up some of the great tips that Melissa said? Or, you know, looking at other ways that you can be looking after yourself on an inner level, loving yourself, your body, your mind, your spirit. And then what's 1 or 2 things that you can be doing to nourish and nurture your relationship, whichever one that is you've chosen to look at? How can you move those numbers up a little so that you can improve your relationship and bring it to a space of thriving, and you being the best version of you in that as well? I think my time's up, Mel. So I'm sorry my PowerPoint wasn't working for you all.
It's okay.
Does anyone have any questions? Anyone have any questions or anything? feel free to be in touch if you have a deeper question, you know, that you want to put on the chat. Feel free to be in touch. That's no problem at all. Mel, how do I put you back to you being...
just in the top corner next to my name, there's 3. There's 3 dots. Yep. Okay. Thank you so much, Deb. How amazing was that for everybody, just to be able to connect back within and think about how we rate ourselves, as well as our relationship. I think we spend a lot of time looking outwards at how we feel we're treated or whether our needs are met, and we forget about what we're actually doing for ourselves. So I think it was good to just have that connection as well. So thank you so much, Deb. She's so good at explaining things so you can understand it. So the next speaker tonight is Lynette. And Lynette is talking about rediscovering womanhood. Thank you so much, Lynette, and I will hand it over to you.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I had planned on talking about rediscovering womanhood, but you know how these things go. You get the creative ideas going and it turned into a little something else. So happy International Women's Day, everybody, and thank you, Melissa, again for another wonderful opportunity to be here and to talk to everybody. So I really wanted to make the most of this 10 minutes, and I thought that given trauma work is my number one thing, when I think about International Women's Day, we can't leave trauma out of the equation, because you think about the history of women, the ways in which women have been disconnected from themselves, but also the way that women have lost capacity to understand themselves as a being. So I wanted to talk about womanhood or women as it relates to trauma. So I'm going to talk about something, I've put a little bit of a different spin on it. What I wanted to talk about is the 4 elements that make up our being. Really, whether you're a male or a female, man or a woman, this works the same. But I really want to empower women to understand themselves better. And keeping it really simple, I like to use the 4 elements. We understand the 4 main aspects of who we are. We can bring that down to fire, water, air, and earth. And I'm going to look down a little bit because I've got notes here. There's things that I don't want to leave out, and it's kind of sequential in how I want to lay this out. So I need to put my timer on. I didn't do that. Right. So to start off with, the first one is the element of fire. That's our spirit and our capacity to know and relate to our spirit, be connected to spirit, but not spirit in the normal way you might think about it, given, you know, the spiritual movement and all of that stuff. It really is the fire within us. It's our intuitive knowing, and if we get disconnected from that, we can feel heavy, we can feel like we've become lost. We really get disconnected from a vital force within ourselves. So the impact of trauma on our spirit, we receive messages that it's actually not okay to be here on some level. We shut down aspects of that life force, that power and the fire for creation. our conscious creating, it's our unconscious creating, it's our misaligned creating. So when we're creative beings 24/7, so the impact of having our spirit or our fire dampened, it's not that we lose connection with our creativity, it's that we can become unconscious to our how we're utilizing our creative energy, how we're utilizing our creative forces. We can get misaligned creativity as well. So if we've got an innate passion or some innate expression for us that we've come into life that we want to use our creative energy for, but we get messages from the world that tell us it's not okay for you to do that. And those expectations can come through the family system. You know, everybody's a doctor in the family, or everybody's a lawyer, or you have to be a certain thing in order to fit in with your family or to fit in with a social system expectations. Then your creative energy, if it's misaligned, is going to get channeled into something that is not you. How many times do you hear of people that are in jobs or gone into careers where they're just not on fire? They do it for money, they do it for prestige, they do it for acceptance, but it's not really their soul's calling. So it's our passion. It's also the energy of anger, and righteous anger or sacred anger has a very important place. And that's the power that brings that forward is our spirit. It's our fire nature. So very, very important part of our 4 aspects of being. And as I go through these, they're not linear, they're circular. And as they're circular, they're interactive all at the same time. We kind of toggle between these 4 aspects, the realms of ourselves. So the next one is the realm of emotions and feelings, and this is the water element. Emotion and feeling, it's our watery nature. Emotions are basically like a noun, and feelings is the verb. It's the doing of the emotion. So we'll have emotions, and emotions get acted out in a doing. So the impact of trauma on emotions and our feelings, gosh, I mean, that's really big. When you think about our nature, our normal makeup as being emotional beings, feeling free to express our emotions, to have healthy emotions, when that gets stunted through the impacts of trauma, then our expression of our emotions can come out double-sided. We can become unbalanced in our emotions. We can become disconnected from our emotions. It's a very, very important part of the aspect of what it is to be human. It's the state of our being. So one of the other aspects of the water element is our capacity to give and receive love, how open our heart is or whether our heart is closed. It's also our psychic ability, our capacity for sensitivity, and our capacity around our fragilities, what our longings are in life. So if we experienced trauma around the realm of the heart, our watery element, then if our heart is closed, we don't get to express that aspect of ourselves. It becomes diminished, or it can turn into a shadow aspect, something that's not natural to your nature. It's also about introspection, our ability to be able to sit with ourselves. Just to be able to sit with ourselves, have introspection, to be able to tap into how we're being, how we're feeling, how we're showing up in the world. It's also our ability for contemplation, to think about the bigger picture, and that requires an open heart. It requires a clear heart, because you use the heart to tap into, you know, the feeling state of the world, that very fluid aspect of our nature. It's also our capacity for bliss and ecstasy. If you've received trauma to that part of your being, our ability to experience joy, to experience bliss, to experience ecstasy becomes diminished. We live a lesser life in the emotional realm due to the impacts of trauma. The third area is the element of air, and that's our mental and our psychological processes. Absolutely vital, as all of these areas are. This is our frontal lobe processing and how functional this aspect of us is. It's our critical thinking, our closed thinking, open thinking, to our how they operate equals to the level of internal or psychological suffering we experience, how much pain we experience internally because of our thinking styles. The impact of trauma on our thinking, it's actually really huge. So our psychological processes, as I said, have the capacity to cause pain or pleasure. This is the domain of our belief systems. It's the spoken word. It's how we speak. It's what we hear, but it's also the filter, the funnel that what we hear actually goes through. It's our interpretation of what we're hearing. It's the domain of our ability to manage accounts, to handle contracts, documents, all of those sorts of things. It's the realm of decisions and choices. So if you've experienced trauma, because it affects all 4 areas of being, it will impact your thinking processes, your ability to trust yourself, to be able to logically work through sequences of events, to be able to make decisions and choices for yourself. It's also undertaking therapy and counselling, because you're using the mind and the intellect to explore, to utilise introspection and contemplation. Those skills all combine together. This is all the psychological processing. It's also the voice of our inner critic, and we all have experience, I think, with the inner critic. The inner critic is born out of receiving messages through our childhoods that we're not okay, that we're so my time is up, that we're less than. We get stuck in this part of the brain, and we're more disconnected from anything else. There is one other aspect that I wanted to quickly touch on, and this is the main aspect, is the body. So this is the element of earth. Our relationship with ourselves, everything coalesces, all of those processes, they coalesce and they go through the body. Our ability to create into the world, manifest our dreams, manifest our desires. If we've experienced trauma and we have an undeveloped sense of self, we're suffering from low self-esteem, we don't know our own worth and our own value, we're not going to be able to create the life that we really want. So there's so much more I could say about this, and unfortunately I am out of time. So I really wanted to just leave this as a framework for just being able to have a simple way of understanding the being that you are, the 4 elements that make up our being. The less is more. So thank you, and I hope that you found that useful.
Thank
Any
you.
questions, let me know.
Yeah, has anybody got any questions before we swap over to another speaker? Anyone got any questions for Lynette, or has experienced anything recently as well? You're welcome to pop a question in there. Thank you, Lynette. That was awesome. And it was really good and very, yeah, very insightful. I think for me, I don't have a very good understanding of grief, and I think, or trauma, or those sort of things. I think unless you've really experienced it, I don't know. I think I need to look into it a bit more. So you do have a question there from Beck. How do you know if you've healed from trauma? Is it when you feel at peace and understand the family history? You've got a couple of minutes, Lynette, if you wanted to quickly answer that.
When you're non-reactive, if you come into a place of peace and a place of calm in yourself, and old stuff is no longer being triggered, then you could say that, you know, you've made some really good inroads into dealing with trauma, and that's a process. We can often think that, you know, we've healed, we've gone and done some work and we've healed, but the healing process is a journey, and it's organic, and there's so many different levels and layers to it. We can think that we're healed, and then an event will occur in our lives and it will just bring stuff up because you're ready to go to a deeper level. So there's always work to do, is the way I see it, because we're growing and evolving all the time. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for that, Lynette. I hope that helped you back. And yeah, feel free to reach out. You'll get some info on Lynette tomorrow. Thank you so much for that. And I'm going to introduce you to our next speaker, Lisa Nicole Thrussell, and she's going to be talking to us about healing your inner child. Here you go, Lisa.
Unmute myself. Hello everyone, welcome to International Women's Day, and how amazing to see everybody here. I'm really pleased to be on the call tonight, and thanks Melissa for organising everybody to come along. It's a day of recollections, really. There's lots of things going on in people's lives about whether, you know, you're being locked down, whether we're looking at wars. There's all sorts of things going on in people's minds. So there's lots of things that might be triggering people at the moment. You know, there's lack of choice. And thanks to all the speakers that have already been on, because you've played right into my topic, the trauma in particular. Also the archetypes obviously work well with that, and any of the things to do with your self-worth and self-esteem, because what we're looking at with healing our inner child is, you know, some people might not have heard of the inner child, so it's sort of like our little self, the little part of us that might be unhealed. And the dictionary meaning, I had a look at some of how other people describe it and what the dictionary meaning was, and it came up with, it's the childlike, usually hidden part of a person's personality that's characterised by the playfulness, spontaneity and creativity, but usually accompanied by anger, hurt and fear, attributable to childhood experiences. So the inner child is that part of you that reacts, and we've already had some people talking about reaction, and great, that was a great question, because our trauma as a childhood creates the way we continue to act and react and respond as an adult. So if you've ever had trouble with being in a certain situation, maybe talking to a person where they've criticised you, or you know, been in a family, you know, family situation where, you know, that certain person always makes you feel bad, or you feel bad from what they say. All of those things, that's not the adult responding. That's the inner child who still is unhealed. So we can call it the wounded child. We can call it the damaged child. In some cases, she feels like she might be pretty damaged. If you've been in a family where there was neglect or abuse, or you were just ignored, they're all types of trauma. There can also be deaths early in the family, separation, divorce. They're all classified as traumas as well. But up until the age of 4 in particular, and up to age 7 in general, if we've had any of those fairly traumatic experiences, neglect or abuse, it actually rewires our brain. So it makes it very difficult for us to maintain stability in emotional situations. So if you imagine that if you've had a fairly reasonable life, you've got a baseline here, sort of here. If you've come from a family where there's been some tragedies in your life as a small child, then your baseline might be already up here. So when people say you're overreacting, whether you know you're acting immaturely or you're being silly about something, and you know you're just going off the handle and you're not in control, when you're getting up into that, I call it the we ought, you know, it's the overreaction, it's the red alert, it's the, you know, the fight and flight, the run out of the room, the scream and yell, the punch somebody, whatever that story is. If you've got a raised baseline, you don't have to go very far till you're in that red alert zone. Whereas if you've got a low baseline, that jump of going up where something is stressful or traumatic still puts you into a space where you can hear what's going on, you can respond to what's going on, your cortex of your brain still works, so you can make rational decisions. So this is where things like the one punch drunk comes in. It's not the adult that is doing that violence when somebody looks at them the wrong way. It might be, oh my God, that guy's looking at me like my dad who used to punch the living daylights out of me. So that is a reaction that they cannot control. And because there's a little bit of alcohol involved, it stops the frontal part of our brain from being inhibited. So you know, where we would normally go, oh, it's not, you know, it's not great to give that guy a punch in the nose. I'm going to, because it's just out of my control. So when we're developing, we need to really have a look at those stages of our lives where we have started to create patterns and programs that are a response to our environment, a reaction to our environment. So looking at eating, for instance, you know, when we have to go for the ice cream when I'm feeling down, that might be your little child, your inner child who's feeling lonely or upset or out of sorts. When we're got any sort of addictions, 99.9% of the time, it's not the adult, because we could say as an adult, look, I don't want to smoke anymore, or I don't want to eat that sort of food, or I'd like to, you know, be able to exercise every day. But we don't do it, do we? So it's not our thinking brain that creates that situation. It's not our adult part of us that is in control and that knows what's good for us. It's the inner child that is reacting to those sorts of things. So how do we work with that? Well, first of all, we need to be kind to ourselves and realise that everybody's had some pretty, you know, interesting lives, and some people more so than others. And look at your own experience and don't look at it from an adult. You know, looking back and saying, oh, look, you know, my life wasn't so bad. You know, I had this and that. Mum and dad got divorced or whatever. Think of it as the 5-year-old child. Your whole life has been turned upside down. You're feeling lost, you're feeling lonely, somebody's left. It could be that There's other sorts of things where you're not the same as other children, so you get bullied at school. So you've got those things that are happening at home that then boil out into your external life, and that starts to create those patterns where you're not emotionally in control. You don't feel stable, you don't feel safe, you don't feel secure. And that creates activities that affect us our whole life. So what can we do about that? Well, we can start to work on looking at how do we nurture our inner child. You know, you owe it to yourself to look after you. Everyone's been talking about self-care, but, we can self-care as an adult, but we also have to learn how to self-care and love as that little child. So put your hand up. You're the adult. I need to be able to look after my inner child. It's nobody else's responsibility. It's not even a parent's responsibility to look after the inner child once we're a certain age. It's our job to do that. Yes, it would be nice if we all came from wonderful families where there was no instances of, feeling disconnected or upset with life, but we're here as spirit beings in human bodies to learn what we're here to learn. And so, as an adult, we as women have the responsibility and also the pleasure of being able to give our beautiful little inner child everything that she needs. And that doesn't mean eating 100 ice creams, although that might be fun to have a try, but it means looking at what does she need. So tuning into the heart space, going inside, finding that beautiful garden inside and asking your inner child, what does she need from you? Why is she feeling upset about something? Why have I just reacted to, to that person criticising me? Look back at what her life was like. Did she have a critical dad? So every time she tried to do something that was fun or playful, she got told to be quiet or to shut up or to, be the responsible one. Did you have enough creativity as a child? If not, give that to yourself now. Take your little beautiful girl by the hand and go and do some pottery. Go and learn how to sew or cook or do something creative. It doesn't matter what it is, but spend time with her doing something that you know is going to be helpful for her because you're listening to her. So it's like taking a big breath, going inside, going deep into the heart there. Create a beautiful garden space and invite your inner child in. Ask her what she needs of you. Ask her if you've been, ignoring her signs and symptoms. We talked, the medical intuitive was talking about listening to our body, but the inner child is the one also who then is working through our body when she has her needs met. When you are looking after your inner child, your body will also respond to that too, because we get disconnected. And when we're disconnected, then things start to, get out of balance. So we've talked about the grounding. We've talked about the 4 elements there. So all those elements need to be in place. And as a practicing shamanic practitioner, we work with the 4 elements all the time. They're the 4 directions, and the directions are associated with the elements. I'm also a registered nurse. I'm still a registered nurse, even though I was originally a registered nurse when I was 17, went into training. So I've looked at, the trauma of the childhood. I've looked at the reclaiming those parts of ourselves that we give away as a child to our parents to fit in, to feel part of the family. Because in the old days, and we've still got that functioning part of our brain that's the fight and flight, the base of the brain there. In the olden days, if we didn't act like our tribe, we looked like our tribe, we fitted in with them, we took on their mores, their morals and their ethics and their belief systems, we had a very real possibility of getting exiled from that tribe. And if we got exiled, what happened? We died. Or at least we, put ourselves in great danger. And that part of our brain has not changed. It's probably 10,000 years old. So if we don't fit in with our family as a small child. We don't sort of give them part of ourselves. We give them our love, we give them our joy, we give them our healing abilities. If somebody's sick, mum or dad aren't well, we give them our capability to laugh and sing and dance and those things, because we want them to either be better or, as in feeling better, feeling well, because, that selfish part of us is like, if they're happy and healthy, then they look after me better. We don't think that consciously, we just know it. If Dad's in a bad mood and I give him lots of my joy and light and he sort of, feels better, then things in the household run better. But at the same time, I'm also taking things off them. So I might take some of my dad's anger, because then if he's less angry, he doesn't yell, mum and everyone's happy and we all feel better. So it's this give and take. So I've created a system from a shamanic process that is, I call it reclaim and reintegrate. So it's about bringing back everything that you've scattered in that childhood times, and then giving back all of those burdens that we've taken on board, because we wear a big cloak of all this heavy stuff that's actually our mum and dad, belief patterns and other things like that. So it's about, taking it on board and saying, well, hey, my inner child is upset. She hasn't had the best of times. What can I do now to intervene and to find some help to reclaim those parts of me that I've given away, and also to give back all of that stuff that no longer is my responsibility and doesn't belong to me anymore. Because, being able to, have fun with your inner child, go and play and bring that back, that helps your relationships. And we've talked about how important relationships are. We've talked about how, looking with our diet and our exercise and being kind to ourselves. So really that connection of coming back into self, and yes, totally relate, that little child, we need to go out and play more. We need to have more fun. We need to love ourselves. And it decreases that overreaction. So it means we respond in situations. We don't get upset. We don't get triggered by other people and situations. So being able to set that sort of emotion and think about what your inner child needs and connect in with her, you'll be able to start doing some of the work for yourself. And then if you need a hand to really, get back on top of that, come and see me, Lisa at 11 Principles. I've been doing this work for many, many years. I've clairvoyant, medium, everything from a child as well. So I've been doing this work now for 40 years. So there's probably nothing that I haven't seen as far as situations go, and intuitive with where things are too. So I can help people find those lost parts. And, when your lost child returns to that beautiful garden in your heart, life is beautiful, really is beautiful. So, yeah. Hope that's a little bit of a snapshot of everything, and please ask any questions if you like. More than happy to have a look at anything that anybody wants to know about. Yeah, I'm just having a look at there. Yep. So creativity, yes, certainly very, very important. And also, when she's feeling safe, and that works, between that 0 to 7, we're looking at base chakra development. So that's our safety, security, abundance, whether we feel like we fit in and that's the start of our self-esteem as well. Because when we feel like we're a part of things and we're listened to and looked after, that creates some safety and security for us as well. But that helps with our abundance. That helps to reduce anxiety. Anxiety is a fear of the future. So if we're feeling stable and settled, then we have a trust with what we're able to face, and that we're not going to react. We can respond to situations. So then that anxiety decreases as well. And when we're sorting out the past, we can help get rid of that depression, because depression is a backward looking thing. We're sorry something didn't work out, or we're angry about something that's happened, and then it doesn't live up to expectations, so then the depression comes. So anxiety and depression can really be reduced a lot by doing the reclaim and reintegrate. Yeah. So thanks so much, and have a wonderful evening, everyone, with this beautiful International Women's Day. It's important that everyone helps everyone, but women in particular need to help women too, because it's like there's a lot going on, and we've got to get.
There is a lot going on.
Yeah.
Empower each other and support each other for sure.
Yeah. Supporting each other and keeping an eye on each other, because it's very easy to get overwhelmed with what's happening. So yeah, that beautiful connection is great. So
yeah,
thanks.
Thank you, Lisa. I really appreciate that. I'm sure you all loved hearing about inner child. Thank you. The next speaker tonight is the lovely Sky Emma, and she is going to be talking about the divine journey within. Thank you, Sky. It's all up for you now.
Hey, everybody. How are we all? Can you hear me okay? Just let me know. All good? Because I've got my earphones in, so excellent. Thank you so much, Melissa, for inviting us all on. It's been amazing to listen to everybody so far. Welcome, everybody. And yeah, like I said, thank you. So the divine journey within was what I was guided to speak about. Lisa's talk really integrates well into what I'm going to speak about as well. It's quite synchronistic how these things work, and it's been beautiful to listen to everybody. I'm sure everybody's got a lot of wisdom so far. So I'd invite you all just to take a moment and take a breath with me, if that's okay, just to sink back in and connect back in. So just take a deep breath in. Letting it all out. Perfect. Take a few more if you need to as well. So I wanted to speak about that we all, you, men, women, are a divine spark of creation. And some people get a bit jittery or hesitant when they hear that. They're not quite sure what that means. So like Lisa was talking about, when we're younger, we tend to pick up different labels and identities, and what I like to call stories. So things might happen to us, or especially social media with children these days, picking up identities, and it tends to maybe change that divine spark that we initially are born in with. So we all have a divine blueprint of our life that we go through, and with those labels and identities, whether that be I'm too big, I'm too short, especially women get that quite a lot. I'm too loud, I'm too fierce, too courageous, or I'm too shy. We tend to get these different labels, and they imprint on us, whether that's through inner child, and also tends to happen through when we as we grow older as well. So as we grow older, we tend to feel like we may be getting off the path quite a bit, or we may be feeling a bit lost, anxious, like the ladies were speaking about previously, about the body speaking the wisdom through us. We tend to might have aches and pains that are telling us that we may necessarily not be on the right path. And it tends to sometimes lead into what I call a tower moment. So if you know the tarot, you've got the tower card where it's a big tower and it's starting to crack, and everything seems to look like it's starting to break down in your life. Or it might just be one specific area of your life that tends to feel like it's coming to a hold and crashing down and breaking away. It's a beautiful thing when you get to this state, because it does tend to direct you back on the right path, and sometimes we need some support in doing that. So our inner self, that inner spark, or some people might like to call it the higher self, starts knocking at the door and starts going, come on, let's get back on the right track. And it'll bring little signs and synchronicities into your life that start ticking you along, and maybe this is the path that we want to go on. There's been some beautiful practitioners on, and there's lots of different ways that we're able to do that, which is beautiful. So if you feel it, make sure you connect. So that divine spark starts to grow within, and we start to look at the stories that are playing out in our life. So it might have been something like Lisa was speaking about, how someone was telling you to just, your parent was telling you, shut up, stop crying. And then, so you tend to lose your voice a little bit. You feel like you're not able to speak. Then when this happens, you start to lose parts of that divine spark identity that you have within you. So working through these stories and working out stories about how they're playing out in your life. One for me was abandonment. So just for an example, I had some issues with abandonment with a partner, and then I realized it stemmed from something that was in my childhood. Not that I received it as traumatic, but it wasn't such a traumatic ordeal, but my brain comprehended it in that way. And then as I was older, my energy, because I was holding that within myself and I hadn't let that go, it was part of my identity. I was then, through law of attraction or universal law of cause and effect, it was attracting those energies towards me for me to learn a lesson. So we have these lessons throughout our life. Many come and go, and we go through them. So the divine journey for me was dropping those labels and identities that other people have created for me, and I've believed it, or the ones that I've also created for myself. So the stories can come in all different different kinds of trauma and feelings and emotions, and it's working through those emotions and changing them in a way. So I'd love for you to just for a moment have a think about your life and what stories you feel have been created or you have created in your life, the emotion that was involved with it, and just pop it in the chat if you could. See if you can recognize some of those stories that have played out in your life. So for me, like I said, one was abandonment. It wasn't such a massive trauma for me when I was younger, but it did play out as I got older. And when I was in a meditation one day, it came to me that I was feeling abandoned. And then I did a little bit of inner child work on myself, which is an amazing way to deal with it. Just giving yourself what you need. So that's an amazing way to deal with it. So have a think about the stories and pop them in the chat. And then I'd really like you to ask yourself, what do you love to do that lights yourself up? So when we're trying to realign ourselves and connect back in with our divine self, it's dropping those labels, but it is like some of the ladies that have previously spoken have said, it's connecting in with your heart, feeling in your heart. What is it that lights you up inside just for you? A lot of people, a lot of mothers that I have spoken to always say, oh, my child lights me up. And they definitely do. And they definitely do the other side for us as well, make us very frustrated. But what is it that you love to do for yourself that really lights you up inside? And that will help you realign yourself, drop the stories, and realign on your divine journey. Going within through tools like meditation, some of the fields that the ladies have spoken about tonight. Journaling is an amazing one, and I used to do that when I was a teenager. It really helped me get my feelings and emotions out, and looking back at them now, I was able to see the stories that were playing out in my life. Seeking support and healings is obviously some more tools that are really amazing. I know I couldn't do it on my own. I was very anxious and depressed at a point in my life, and I went and seen my Reiki master who taught me Reiki, and it really helped me connect with those inner parts of myself, those identities and labels that we put on ourselves, or that may come from our perspective of what other people are saying or telling us, and we can start to shed those. So I said in the chat before that when I did my inner child healing, it was amazing. I had no fear of heights anymore. So it had to do with fear and safety and that fight or flight part of the brain. And once I worked through that and made my inner child feel safe, I was able to let go of that fear of heights. So it's amazing how it all interconnects into the body, the mind and the spirit, and those feelings that we feel. So thanks, Christy. Abandon as well, yeah. So is anyone else recognizing as I'm speaking any stories that they may be going through at the moment, or that they have in the past and that they've healed? It's amazing, Melissa. Yeah, amazing. So one takeaway I would really like you to remember from me tonight is the divine journey within. It is going within. It's taking that quiet moment for yourself without all the labels, without all the identities, as a mother, as a daughter, just as you yourself, connecting in with your heart and asking yourself what it is that you love to do, that is just for you, that ignites you. Okay, I will leave it as that because I'm not sure what time I had started. But if anyone has any questions, let me know in the chat box. Yes, joy and pleasure. Those are the things that we really are really called to ignite ourselves and bring ourselves back into that heart space. And that's where we live from: compassion and love and joy and all those things that help us thrive in life. Connection. Oh, that's such an important one. We are all connected in everything. So, you know, not just human to human, but those elements and the plants and, you know, everything is all connected. And when we really tune into that, we can start identifying those synchronicities that are trying to push us on a certain path in life, and getting some support along the way. And you've got some amazing practitioners on here tonight. So thank you all very much. I've loved listening to all of you as well. And yeah, any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Sky. That was so good. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
wrote in there, I'd love to be more silly. I feel like that's when my inner child really comes out, was I get really, really silly. And I do that with my kids. Well, the kids allow me, not all my kids. My daughter doesn't let me be silly, but my boys do. So I find that funny. Girls, hey, what we do to ourselves. Anyway, thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. We just have one more guest tonight, and she's going to really finish off the night in such a beautiful way. And I just want to thank everybody for attending tonight, for showing up for yourself, and just to be really, I feel like we've held space and really being able to share and be vulnerable, which I just think is awesome. So thank you, everybody, and thank you, listeners, and thank you, speakers. Very, very appreciative to do. We're gonna have to do this more often. It was just really good. Anyway, I'm going to share with you the Goldie Wildheart. She is our last speaker for tonight. And she's got something very beautiful planned for us. So it's all over to you, Goldie.
Thank you. Yeah, this is so beautiful. Just, yeah, it should be Women's International Day, like, you know, at least once a week. Yeah, so hi, so I'm Goldie, and I facilitate various styles of breath work, and I combine them with shamanic healing and body work. So the body is the bridge between heaven and earth. And all our stories, our soul stories, are stored in our body, which need to be unwound and held and, you know, witnessed, and so we can heal, and so many different other things. And yeah, I think, Sky, you nailed it. Everybody here has just got an amazing medicine, and it's beautiful when we come together and we share. So yeah, it's really beautiful. So tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect us as a circle. I'm going to stick to my 10 minutes, but I'm getting very ambitious. I'm going to throw in a couple of different types of breath work, but I'm going to connect us as a circle, which I know we already are. But going to get you to put your right hand up as if you had your hand on the back of the heart of the person to the right of you. And I'm going to get you to put your left hand, let's just all feel into that. And we're connecting just, I almost like to close the circle, so it's perfect that I'm at the end. And your left hand is on your heart. And we're all going to take just 3 deep breaths, whoever's comfortable for you, if it's through the mouth or if it's through the nose. And as you breathe out, let out a sound of surrender, just really connecting. Really feel the heartbeats in this beautiful circle. And when that feels complete for you, just hands down. And the first one I'm going to take you through is a pranayama and a tantric breath. So it's very gentle, very yin based, nothing, no hyperventilation, there's nothing you need to worry about. So let's put our left hand on our womb, and that's energetic womb as well. It's our place of creativity. It's the base of our being. Just as an overview, this is the place where our kundalini is. And this is the place, we all talk from the root chakra. Lisa, you mentioned it, which was so beautiful. It's just really, it's the foundation. It's everything that we have. So we really want to drop as deep as we can into this place. So put your left hand on your energetic womb right down at the base, and then the right hand on your heart. So this breath is all through the mouth. So the first breath, you breathe in at the gateway. Let's just visualize it coming. We can talk about yonis because it's all women today. So let's relax our yonis. And as we breathe in, we're going to bring prana in through the gateway of our yoni, and we're going to fill all of our womb. So that's where you're going to isolate and bring the breath. So the first breath will come in there. Then there's a slight pause, and you'll take a second inhalation into the heart space. And then you'll let go. So I'm going to just do one little demo, and then I'm going to get you to join in. So let's go. So take the first breath in, relax the jaw, fill the womb. First breath, beautiful inhalation, nice and slow, nice and conscious. Slight pause. Second inhalation into the heart, and then let go. That's it. So let's keep breathing like that. First one in, fill the base. Really be present with your womb. And that second inhalation is for you to receive all of yourself, to merge into your own invitation. And then when you let go, you'll just go deeper into the body. Everything is in the body. We want to be in the body. So just relax your jaw a little bit more. Give yourself full permission to breathe for a few minutes. Breathing in at the gateway of the yoni, fill the womb, left and right side. And just be present with this powerful place of creation. And then you want to receive all that magic. So you say yes to you, yes to your life, yes that you would choose you again as you take that second inhalation into your heart. And as you let go of all the breath, you drop deeper into the body. And just notice at the end of the breath, there's a slight pause. And again, the divine comes into you. So take that beautiful breath in through the mouth, a little bit deeper now, a little bit more prana. Fill with at least 75 to 80% with that first inhalation in your womb. And you'll always find that other 25, 30% for your heart. Let out any sounds that you want to. Gratitude, a few more. Make this one really count now. Deep into your own base. all your creation, and choosing you now, beautiful, into your heart with love and letting it go. And now what I want you to do is to inhale through the nose, right down from the gateway of your yoni, nice and slow, consciously controlling the prana, bring it all the way up. Come to the heart. And I want you to lock your malabandha, your sex muscles, and just hold. Hold this breath with ease in your body, in your vessel, your temple. Just commune with the divine in you for just a moment, holding with ease. Feel into the energy and the wisdom of the womb, what's moving through you. If it's uncomfortable, just meet it. I don't want to be anywhere else other than this moment of holding inside yourself. And when you need to, just letting go. You can hold a little bit longer. Just take those extra 10 seconds. And when you release, let go of that yoni. Just thanking yourself, feeling that presence. And when you're ready, just eyes coming up a little bit. Back to the screen, back to your sisters, back to all these amazing women. So I'm going to take you through a little one now. Is everyone feeling okay? All ready for bed? We're nearly there. So this one I really had a calling to do. It's the womb. So International Women's Day. I mean, who's our mother? Our mother is the earth. So let's connect to her womb and connect to our wombs today. Let's just have a minute of doing a different breath. So this breath, again, relax your yoni. You may even want to sit up a little bit more upright and even peel away your butt cheeks, because we want the base really on the floor. Yeah, I feel like that you can really connect. So as we're going to come into closing tonight, let's just really connect. Let's descend everything down. That was really easy for you guys to get your mind into your heart and your heart into your womb. And now just feel your womb going down and connecting to the ground, to the soil. Go down a little bit deeper, down to the roots, and connecting down and plugging into what is right for you, the heart and the womb of our mother. That's it, where all life comes from. So feel into that deepest connection there. And in a moment, I'm going to get you to breathe. And this breath is in the nose, and you'll breathe up all the way from that heartbeat, nice and controlled. Bring it all the way up the roots, and you'll come up to your womb. And when you exhale, you'll exhale and you'll blast this beautiful energy, and you'll fill all the corners of your womb, all the corners of your root chakra and your sacral. And isolating that area. And then you'll take an inhalation in the nose, and you'll draw all that prana that'll come up from the base all the way through your spine. It's going to come up, it's going to come out your bindu chakra, and it's going to come around to the front of your heart. You'll have your left hand on your womb, and your right hand will actually be here, not on your heart, but it will be here. Because when the energy comes up, we breathe that second breath. The energy will be here. It's come out, it's looped here, and you're going to exhale and you're going to blast it by pushing it into your heart. So we'll bring up the energy in the womb, the heart from Mother Earth with that first breath through the nose. Filling as we exhale all into the womb. And then bringing your magic of your womb through your nose, all the way up your energy centers. Hold it outside your body by your hand and exhale and blast that beautiful white light energy into your heart. Everybody good with that? Let's just take a minute to do that. And that's how we're going to end tonight. It's really bringing that connection in. So let's all start off a few together, and then you can do in your own time if that's comfortable. Down to the earth, descend down, find her, feel her. Let's breathe in now through our nose and bring it up to our womb. Exhale and fill. Breathe in now, bring it all the way up. Sit at your hand in front and exhale and blast it back into your heart as you push it in. Next inhalation follows straight away. Bring it all the way up again. Exhale into the womb. Breathe in, bring it up again. See it there in your hand and you choose it, blast it back in. Let's do a couple more. Make this one count. Just hold that now, hand on your heart. Normal breath. Just feel the synergy from her to your womb. The energy ascends up naturally and comes around and is still blasting back in your heart. Just feel that synergy. Womb to heart. And it's heart to womb to womb. Being deeply grateful for your body. Grateful for all the medicine that was shared tonight from everybody. And it all comes back to the wisdom in our body. To the powerful creators that we are as women. We hold everything. We create all life. We are divine feminine and divine masculine. Now what I want you to do is hold up your left hand, eyes still closed, as if the left hand now is on the back of the heart of the woman to the left of you. And your right hand down onto your energetic womb. We are all the same. We are all one. On our journeys, unwinding our soul stories and holding each other and helping each other, supporting each other. So thanking Mother Gaia, thanking yourselves, and thanking each other. One last beautiful deep breath in the nose and out the mouth with a beautiful sound of surrender. I'm going to take another one to close. Both hands together at the heart. Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, everyone. Hope you could hear me. Didn't check that.
Thank you. That was amazing. What a great way to finish off the night as well. I hope you all feel amazing after that. All nice and relaxed. Yes, beautiful energy. Yes, definitely. Thank you. I hope you all got a lot out of tonight and was able to hear messages that were coming across just for you tonight. I think that we can go to things like this and there's some that we take in and some that we don't, and the messages you're supposed to hear are the ones that landed with you, resonated and fell on your heart. So thank you for finishing that off as well, Goldie. That was amazing. And yeah, thank you all for being here, sticking around tonight. We really did this because I feel like it's all about women and community, and it was just a great opportunity to be able to get everybody together and share. So thank you all, and yeah, have a look out in your emails tomorrow. I'll send a link to with all our speakers' details if you want to, and then I'll also just, yeah, if you're okay with me sharing a copy of this into a Facebook group, if everyone's okay with that, we will. Otherwise we'll leave it private. It's up to you. But yeah, if you have any questions, you're welcome to stay on. Otherwise, go and get a good night's sleep, and I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you so much. It was awesome. Thank you. Thank you, speakers. You're all amazing. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you, everybody. It was a beautiful offering.
Bye, everyone.
Happy International Women's Day, ladies.
Yes. Thank you, ladies. See you later.
Thank you. Much love. Bye.
Thanks to all the speakers. Thanks, everyone. It was
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. God bless you all. Sleep well.
Bye, Joanna.
Hi, Sky. That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
You're so welcome. Bye, gorgeous. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.